Today, I'm going to prove to you that equipment doesn't matter nearly as much as you probably think it does. If you like this video and find the information in it helpful, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I upload every Saturday morning. And if you know anybody who might find this video interesting or helpful, be sure to share it with them. So today I'm going to be comparing my super fancy professional setup clarinet with my wife's actually super simple student clarinet setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 3 little things to test on each. So I'm going to do a 3-octave F major scale, and then I'm going to do a sort of slower lyrical little snippet of the Brahms Symphony No. 3 Movement 2 excerpt, and then a little snippet of the Weber Concertino, which is the same snippet that I used in my How to Use a Metronome Effectively video. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. So let's get started with my wife's student model clarinet. This is a Yamaha. I think it's model 20. It might be a YCL 20. I know now all of their instruments are like, they have the YCL 255, which is the most common student clarinet for Yamaha, and I think this was a precursor to that. Yamaha is a good brand, so this is definitely a decent instrument, but looking on the internet, you can get one of these for around like $150 to $250. So we're going to call this a $200 clarinet just to compare the value. It's also a standard barrel, standard bell, all of that was just with the clarinet. The mouthpiece is a buffet stock mouthpiece, which is by no means super fancy or popular one amongst professionals. It is about $30 for the mouthpiece, and then the ligature is also just a super standard buffet ligature, which is about $20. And finally, this reed is a Mitchell-Lurie size 3, which was my wife's from when she was in high school, and she graduated in 2011, so wish me luck that I don't die from this. So we're going to start with the 3-octave F major scale and see what happens. Not bad. Let's do the Brahms excerpt. And finally, the concertino excerpt. You can also tell that this clarinet hasn't had much maintenance done to it in the past, probably ever. So there's definitely some pads and some sealing things that may not be at the top possible performance for this guy. And now we have my fancy professional setup, which I'm playing on a Buffet Tradition, which is one of their newer lines. It's been out for a few years now, though. And to buy a new Tradition is about $4,700. And then I'm also playing on a Ramon Wachowski custom mouthpiece, which is about $300, a Zoom barrel, which is $250, and a gold-plated but not inverted ligature, which is about $50. So the grand total for this clarinet is around $5,300 compared to the $250 grand total for the student clarinet. And now I'm going to play the same 3 things and see how it compares. So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna show a little bit back to back so you can hear it going between the two and see more of a direct contrast and see what you think about how the two of them sound. So I bet you might have been a little bit surprised by the results of this, that the $250 clarinet doesn't sound that bad compared to the $5,000 clarinet, right? And I think this is such a huge misconception with people about equipment, and clarinetists especially when they're starting to really get into it, just freak out about equipment and are like, oh, I'm gonna try all these mouthpieces, and oh, if I just had like the right ligature, everything would be easy. But it really isn't so much the case. My personal belief on equipment is that if you're a good player, you're gonna sound approximately the same on any equipment you play on. Even the student clarinet I was playing on was an ancient reed, not even a good mouthpiece, and I still sounded okay on it. The reason why is because when you're a good player and you understand how the fundamentals work, you're able to adjust those variables, and you have so much muscle memory built up for how you want to sound that your brain's very quickly able to adjust and make the corrections needed to compensate for the equipment that you're working with. By the way, if you're interested in learning what those fundamentals are, I encourage you to check the link in the description to join the official QuickStart Clarinet community, or you can go to www.quickstartclarinet.com/join. So why on earth, if the student clarinet and the professional clarinet sound approximately the same, why did myself and so many professionals spend so many thousands of dollars on great equipment? What it really comes down to is the feel of it. So for me, playing on the $250 clarinet, I am really timid and a little bit nervous about what's gonna come out. Even on that concertino excerpt, I had that weird squeak at the beginning, and I'm sure that was mostly a mechanical thing, and if that clarinet was in good repair, that probably wouldn't happen. But you never know, and when you're playing on bad equipment, you're always a little bit on edge about what's gonna happen and what's gonna come out, and if you know if you're making the right adjustments. And there's just very much less consistency on bad equipment. The other thing that the good equipment really does for you is it allows you so much more freedom and so much more response. On this clarinet, if I want to do a very subtle note shape where maybe I like have a good attack and then come away really quickly and then maybe swell again, this has the responsiveness to be able to make all of those adjustments and changes. Whereas the student clarinet might just like not do anything when I try to put in those changes. So it's all about the response and freedom and how it feels. That really makes the difference between the great equipment and the more student level equipment. So finally, I definitely don't want to discourage you from upgrading your equipment. It's definitely beneficial and can really make things easier and give you more range of expression, which is fantastic. But you might want to double check yourself first and see if you can get to the max capacity on your equipment as it is. It's not going to make you a suddenly better clarinet player just to be on better equipment. Maybe if your equipment's really in bad disrepair and you have leaks and things like that, getting that fixed will help you a lot. But if your clarinet's in good repair, getting a better clarinet isn't going to be some like magic light bulb that suddenly makes you sound like a completely different player. What makes you sound like a great player and can have the most impact on your sound and your playing is your fundamentals. Now, with all of that being said, I want to do one last little test and a little nifty equipment thing. A lot of people think that the clarinet is the problem, but actually upgrading your reeds and your mouthpiece and your ligature can actually make a really big difference. So I'm going to take that student clarinet that was my wife's, and I'm going to put my mouthpiece on it and see what kind of results we get with that. So now this is my $300 mouthpiece with my $50 ligature, and the reed I'm playing on is the D'Addario Reserve Classic size 4 for this mouthpiece. So let's see how this clarinet sounds with my professional mouthpiece setup. So you can probably hear a bit of the difference in that already. And from my perspective, how it feels, adding on my mouthpiece, which is the mouthpiece that I'm used to playing on and I'm really comfortable with this setup, made it feel so much more predictable and so much more reliable and consistent for what I was going to get out of this instrument. So if you are thinking about making an equipment upgrade, if you feel like something in your clarinet or your equipment is limiting you, start with your reed, try several different reeds to see if any of those might make a difference and feel better. And then the next step is to try some mouthpieces. Go to a music store, try as many mouthpieces as they will let you, and see what makes it feel the easiest. Again, you're probably gonna sound basically the same on everything, but whatever gives you the most response and the most freedom and control, that's what you wanna be going for. I hope this has been helpful for you and a little bit eye-opening for how much equipment does or doesn't matter. And be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anybody who you might want to blow their mind about how good a $250 clarinet can sound. And most importantly, if you're interested in learning the fundamentals to make a $250 instrument sound great, then click the link in the description to join the official QuickStart Clarinet community. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.